Even though the franchise has been extremely hit or miss with its recent games, with Super Mario Party being the first console entry to actually return to the traditional format in 10 years, it can be rather difficult to remember just how grand the Mario Party franchise used to be. I remember inviting friends over for sleepovers in order to play through 50 turns of luck-based, friendship-ruining minigames as we all fought, sometimes even physically, Mamma mia! To be number one. Back in those days, all I really wanted was a way to experience Mario Party on the go. Something my sister and I could play together during family road trips using our Game Boy Advances. And more importantly, our GBA link cables! This dream was finally gifted to the world, but more importantly myself, in 2005, when Mario Party Advance saw a release. Did Advance manage to successfully bring the Mario Party formula to the portable format? It's time to get off that couch and crack those fingers as we ruin friendships in this episode of Gonzo Media. Upon starting the game, you are first tasked with creating a passport. That's right, a passport. On this passport, you are asked to give it standard information such as your name, birth month, oh, not the date, just the month, your favorite hobby, and a sentence that sums up your entire existence. Why they decided to start their Mario Party game with a passport creating system, I'll never know, but it's definitely not a very good sign of things to come. After we get all that information filled out, we are then brought to the main plot of Mario Party Advance. And yes, there actually is a plot to this Mario Party game. The story takes us to the floating kingdom known as Party World, which to be honest sounds like a place that Pinocchio and other lost boys would go to become weird donkey hybrid creatures. Just food. This actually does provide a bit of purpose for the passport, as it is what actually allows us to gain entryway into Party World. Once we enter, Toad begins to tell us all about the fun that is to be had with Party World's games and gadgets, before Bowser and a Koopa Kid stomp him, sending all of the mini-games and gadgets to the world below. As you can expect, you are then tasked with journeying forth to collect all of these MacGuffins, which segues us into the first mode in the menu, Shroom City. This is the mode that you will spend the most time on, as it is essentially the story mode of Mario Party Advance. You quickly learn that Mario Party Advance has the smallest amount of playable characters in any Mario Party game, as you can only select from Mario, Peach, Yoshi, and everyone's favorite Nintendo character, Green Mario. Considering how the previous game at the time, Mario Party 6, had 11 playable characters, Advance's measly 4 is a huge disappointment. Another huge disappointment that you will quickly find is that instead of continuing with the franchise's traditional multiplayer focus, Shroom City can only ever be played by a single player. While it is true that other Mario Party games have had some single player modes, with Minigame Island from the first game and the story mode in 3 specifically coming to mind, both of those games were still designed with 2 to 4 players in mind. I understand that the limited capabilities of the Game Boy Advance would make transferring the traditional Mario Party formula difficult, but the fact that the main form of playing the game is a single player only experience is incredibly baffling. In the game's defense, the developers did try and make an authentic single-player experience. All 4 playable characters will start out in different areas in Shroom City, with Mario appearing in the town area, Princess Peach in the jungle area, Luigi in the seaside area, and Yoshi in the horror area. While I can't prove it, I feel as if the starting areas for Luigi and Yoshi accidentally got switched sometime during development. Luigi's Mansion was released 4 years before Mario Party Advance was, so Luigi, being a survival horror expert, was brought into the Mario lore at this point. In Yoshi, being native to both the Archipelago Dinosaur Land and Yoshi Island makes him a shoo-in for the island area. Yoshi even was given the island board in the original Mario Party, so it's weird they would put him in the horror area over Luigi unless it was some kind of misunderstanding during development. The game gives you 5 dice when you start each run, each represented by the mushrooms at the top right of the screen, which you will roll in order to move across the board. Dice are not only your form of movement, but they also function essentially as your health. Run out of mushrooms and your run is over. This does create a form of resource management, but it is mostly just a stressful mechanic as the randomness of the game can mean that you quickly run out of mushrooms for doing any kind of progression. There are multiple tiles which you can land on, each with a different function. You have your neutral tiles with no advantages or disadvantages, green dice tiles which allow you an extra move, red minus tiles which force you to lose a die, blue M spaces which allow you to play a minigame to win more mushrooms, and the red arrow spaces which take you to missions where you can win minigames in gadgets. Finding and completing these missions is the meat of Shroom City, and it actually is quite impressive with how much variety there is. You have your expected win the minigame missions in the always unsatisfying fetch quest, but you also have quests such as having to solve Pokey's riddles, figuring out the password to a treasure, and even being forced to laugh at a comedian's terrible jokes in order for him to feel good about himself. It's kinda like how you guys laugh at my terrible jokes. One mission that I really liked was having to lose a race against a Cheep Cheep, but making sure that the race is close enough that they'd never expect that you took a dive. Though what else is a fish gonna do, am I right?
Boo! You stink!
Sometimes during the world map, the game will also randomly throw Koopa Kids at you, who will challenge you into playing a round of Rochambeau, where losing causes a Bowser head statue to drop and stop your progress. If the Koopa Kid doesn't challenge you to Rochambeau, then he will just teleport you to the opposite side of the board. Considering that there are a few quests that require you to move from one area to the other, this teleportation can completely ruin a run. The Koopa Kid encounter can even happen within the span of 3 turns, which will turn the game into an infuriating, unwinnable experience. A big influence on how good a Mario Party game will be is within the quality of its minigames, and I can comfortably say that Advance's selection is just alright. A lot of the minigames are just based on other games found in earlier Mario Party titles. Barrel Peril is 2's Sneak and Snore, Koopa Crunch is a lesser version of 3's Mario Puzzle Party, and Amplified is just a more static version of 4's Chain Chomp Fever. Some of the minigames in Advance are also too similar to one another, with there being 2 different kinds of race around the track minigames and 4 platform-based Find the Exit minigames. Bob is probably my favorite game in the bunch, as it requires some pretty decent timing and strategy to drop the Bob-omb at just the right moment in order to get the most points. Flipping out is also really good, as you flip around from post to post in order to find the exit. It's also one of the more difficult games in the set, as some of the posts slide about or move in and out of the wall. It's also really funny when you lose in flipping out, as you essentially just yeet your character into the fiery depths below. While Mario Party Advance's selection of minigames isn't terrible, you're definitely not going to come out of playing this game with any of them being some of your favorites in the whole franchise. Outside of the single-player minigames, Advance also has 8 dual ones, which are designed to be played with another human player. You have some fun stuff like tossing hammers at one another, fighting in boxing glove-equipped cars, and everyone's favorite sport, curling.
Key play here early in this contest in N3. Schuster stays hot.
These games are enjoyable, but in order to get the most out of them, you need another person to play with you. And since multiplayer requires another person to have their own GBA, their own copy of the game, and a link cable, this is way easier said than done. The Bowser minigames, which effectively act as the boss battles in Mario Party Advance, are some of the best in the whole collection, and they are earned by beating the Bowser quest in Shroom City. They all consist of you defeating a random number of Koopa Kids, either by shooting them with a gun or smashing them with a hammer. There is something just really satisfying about defeating swarms of enemies and watching a big number go down. Peek and Sneak is definitely the worst one of the Bowser games, as the entire minigame is just hiding behind pillars and running past Koopa Kids when their backs are turned. They also sometimes will just turn around and spot you without much of any indication, causing you to lose the minigame and wasting a full turn in the story mode. Continuing with Nintendo's goals to use Mario as a way to teach kids that gambling is cool, the Advance also includes a set of casino games, all based on real ways to gamble. You have your Scratch Lotto cards, Pachinko, and it wouldn't be a Mario Party game if you didn't have a slot machine. There's not much to say about these games, as you've all probably have encountered them in another game before, but the Mario Universe skin for them is pretty cute. They do get that. The second big collectible in Mario Party Advance were the gadgets, and they are in interesting addition. There are a whopping 61 gadgets in Mario Party Advance, and they are not only attainable by playing through the story mode, but also by purchasing them. I guess all of those casino games make more sense now that I think about it. As you can probably guess with the sheer number of them, Nintendo definitely went more quantity over quality with the gadgets. You have some mini versions of sports, such as golf and basketball, which are just simple one-button games. You also have a group of multiplayer gadgets, based around either passing around your GBA or sharing the console with a friend. Considering how the only 3 ways of playing Mario Party Advance are either through an emulator, the Game Boy Advance hardware, or a Wii U, these multiplayer gadgets are essentially worthless. Honestly, most of these gadgets are just kind of bad or weird. The frequently mocked stick to it is just what it sounds like. You pick a direction you want the stick to fall, and just watch gravity do its work.
Nice on!
Mini Maze, which sounds like it would be cool, is actually just a really easy generated maze that you can't even go through in game. You have to use a finger or just your eyes to actually go through it. Want to grow your own mushrooms or raise your own Poochie? Then Mario Party Advance has you covered on those activities. The gadgets were probably the most upsetting thing coming back to this game after not playing it for almost 2 decades. I remember playing them a lot as a kid and would sometimes play Mario Party Advance just to mess around with them. They might still be fun for little kids, but I'm pretty sure any adolescent who played this game today would only touch them for a minute or two and then never look towards them afterwards. To be completely honest, I went into this game expecting to kind of hate it. I thought this episode would be me playing through a game that I had fond memories of from back when I was a kid, but kind of hated playing and just couldn't tolerate as an adult. And while in some ways that is exactly what happened, I actually had a more enjoyable time with Mario Party Advance than I predicted. Shroom City, despite the infuriating randomness and inconsistent mission quality, was a lot of fun to play through, and I actually thought most of the dialogue was very funny. I was even surprised that there are still some minigames that I found to be fun to play. But to answer my own question that I asked at the beginning of the video, yes, Mario Party Advance is a bad Mario Party game. However, I can easily say that it isn't the worst one. Mario Party 10 and 11, as well as Mario Party Top 100 are much, much worse. Mario Party Advance may have reviewed poorly, but I think if it was under a different non-Mario Party title, then it might have actually reviewed way better than it did. Thankfully, Mario Party DS was released 2 years later and provided the handheld Mario Party experience most of us desired. As it is, Mario Party Advance remains an enigma, a single-player entry in a multiplayer franchise, with all of the issues that you could easily imagine from that concept. Despite its flaws, Mario Party Advance is quite charming in a way, so if you really want to check it out for yourself, I promise it will be an experience that you likely won't forget. I hope you all really enjoyed this episode of Gonzo Media. I had a lot of fun making it, and perhaps I will stop by the Mario Party franchise for another episode later on. Either way, if you enjoyed this video, I highly recommend you checking out my other episodes, as I am sure you will find something you will enjoy. Don't forget to like and subscribe as well, as every bit helps out a lot. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.